I did it all for the money. When the player had to eat that one, the damn thing funny. Hey, I did it all for the money. Hey, I did it all before. Rob people so dope. Gang banging, shooting pistols, running from the dance folks. And I was known for getting anything your ass folks. Soft, hard, green, brown, niggas even had.
Welcome to the Playing with the Church Money podcast. I'm your host, Brother Will Williams. Today we're going to get into this mayoral election, the Albuquerque 2021 mayoral election, and we're going to get into some of the characters that are running for mayor, and we're going to see who's playing with the church money. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to talking about Eddie Aragon. Eddie Aragon is pretty much a Trump crash dummy, a Trump clone. If you want some more of that divisiveness that we had during the Trump presidency, go ahead, waste your vote for Eddie Aragon. Now, he has some controversy coming in. They filed a petition to get his name off the mayoral race because he lived in his radio station. According to him, he got divorced, hasn't been able to find a place during COVID, so he's been living in his radio station. Not buying it. He also made some comments about the other candidate, the sheriff. He was denied funding, so Eddie went ahead and made some comments saying that he submitted some fraudulent signatures, so he should go ahead and be prosecuted for election fraud. With that being said, it's funny that the guy who's using the bogus address and using his radio station, he's a radio station owner, so he's violating FCC rules and regulations by not allowing the other candidates to have the same amount of airtime that he has. So this guy is just all over the place. For him to say that the sheriff should be prosecuted for election fraud, for election fraud is laughable when he's using a fake address and using his radio station, going against the FCC rules and regulations. I mean, it's a joke. This guy is just laughable, it's comical, but this is the character of the Republican Party. This guy went up for the seat that was left vacant by Deb Haaland when she got promoted to the Secretary of the Interior by Biden. Now, New Mexico, they picked the Republican candidate. The Republicans didn't pick him. They did not pick him. They picked Mark Moore to go against Melanie Stansbury. So that should let you know if his own party wouldn't pick him to run for that seat, but y'all want to pick him to run Albuquerque. Come on. Guy's trash. He's garbage. Next person we're going to talk about is going to be Manny Gonzalez. He's the sheriff. So he got denied election funding because he submitted some fake signatures. Now, what I was told is that all the candidates do this, that when they send these people out to go canvassing, you have someone that gets close to the time and he may be short 50 signatures. So what he does is he'll go and put down signatures of people he knows, and when they start adding the $5, $10 donations or the $5 donations together and they start seeing that it's not adding up, then they start figuring out some of these signatures weren't valid, and so on and so forth. So it's something that they say happens all the time. This is the MO of all the candidates. They all do it. But being that he is a sheriff, you would think he would know better. You would think he would follow the letters of the law to the T. Now you have these people who call themselves supporting the police and all this because Manny Gonzalez is a Democrat. They want him to basically step out of the race and tell his voters to vote for Eddie Aragon. But there are these Republican voters who say they're so they back the law enforcement and all this. It doesn't seem like they would choose Eddie Aragon over the mayor. We're just totally shows the divisiveness in that whole party. They'll say one thing, but then because this sheriff is a Democrat, I guess they're not supporting the law enforcement, which is the clown show of law enforcement in our city. And so basically that goes, perfect example. He shouldn't have got those signatures. And yes, he should have got disqualified for the funding. So that's what happened. And now he has raised money and he's doing good, I guess. But the issue is that the crime in our city has gone up under his watch. You know, the crime under our city has been, you know, terrible under his watch. The crime, the drugs. Now he wants to run for mayor. The crime is, you haven't been able to tackle the crime as sheriff. Now you want to run for mayor. This is it's not it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. How about fix your department? This guy didn't want to have his officers wear lapel footage until it came down to when he was forced to. He was also, I believe, in office when there was a record number of police shootings. So he's not going to be the answer to the problem. Now, that leaves us with Tim Keller. And so, Tim Keller, he's been, you know, pretty decent on trying to get stuff done on the social programs and stuff like that. And just like all the other mayoral candidates or mayors, they always want to do these big, ambitious projects to leave their name, they stamp on the city. So his thing is the soccer stadium, which is, you know, nice try, Keller, nice try, Killer. You know, he tried to fluff up this inflated price for this stadium, which they're still trying to push, and it's a tactic to get votes from the union. Basically, you deliver the jobs to the unions, and they're going to deliver the vote. So this is what's going on. Nice try, it didn't work. So now it's the vote's going up for vote. Now he wants to build a development downtown. Mysteriously, only one developer came with the development plan, and so once again, here goes more jobs for unions, so they can deliver the vote to Mr. Keller. So that is the kind of politics we have in our city. And so this is what I'm talking about with the stadium. So you have this stadium, $80 million. So this is where they're playing with the church money. This is where they're playing with the church money, and they always do this. Ain't nothing new. So let me just point it out so y'all could just see it in plain, make it plain and simple for y'all. So $80 million proposal for the soccer stadium going up for vote. Now the APS football stadium on the west side, this is fairly new. Cost about $35 million, and it's a 10,000 seat arena. So you mean to tell me and the rest of the taxpayers, the black voters, we're this stupid that 2,000 more seats are going to cost another additional 35, 45 million? 35, 40 million? Is that what you're trying to tell us? So I don't know who done that math. I don't know who your city planner is, but you should fire them, because that is terrible math. And this is where y'all see they playing with the church money. So for him to deliver the votes, he's going to pad the pockets of the union presidents so they could deliver the vote, because those are going to be the people that are going to be getting these contracts. Very plain and simple, very plain to see. I'm putting it all out there, real plain and simple for y'all to understand. So Or y'all playing with the church money, man, maybe, just maybe, y'all might be able to catch Cheryl Stapleton Williams before they get that indictment hit. You know what I'm saying? Before that indictment hit, y'all might be able to get her to negotiate, that stadium bill for about half the price. She might have been scheming and scamming, but somebody over there at APS was getting them numbers right on this construction. So maybe these need to be the people that need to be the city planners running in office. So very interesting. You have these two state entities, very different ways of approaching stuff. But now you see who's playing with the church money. 80 million for 12,000 seat arena when, under the Cheryl Stapleton regime, APS was able to negotiate a $35 million 10,000 seat arena. So y'all let me know who playing with the church money, but that's what it is. Plain and simple for y'all to understand and see. Maybe y'all really need to talk to Cheryl Stapleton Williams, see how they got that stadium for 35 million, that 10,000 seats. From my personal dealings with the Keller administration, trying to get funding for the black community, trying to actually come up with some solutions that they could have capitalized on but chose not to capitalize on. So I'm just going to go ahead, we're going to put it out there, let's talk about it so we can try to see what the worth of the black vote is to Mayor Keller. So a couple years ago we had, I've talked about this before on another podcast, but we had Miss McGill, the Black History Organizing Committee, had a Youth Violence Prevention Summit. This was after the shooting death in Nob Hill. So during that prevention summit, one of the attendees, myself, came up with the only solution with a price tag to try to remedy some of the crime and violence in the black community and in the poor, impoverished communities overall. Now, there was a pastor that came down from Oakland, gave us some information and some tactics on how to attack the meeting. So I automatically took to those tactics, knew the numbers and stuff that I had in my head, put my plan together, and when it was time, I seized upon it. My solution was, you give me $250,000 out of the $20 million from the police budget, and I will take this number is based on the cost of a shooting, which goes anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000 for policing, going after the suspect, the medical services for the victim, so on and so forth. So this is the price tag that it's going to cost. So the price tag, which was one of the tactics that we were taught in this class. So my thing was, I know the price of these classes to get certified. So I put the number together. You give me $250,000, I'll get 100 kids out of the worst zip codes in Albuquerque with the highest crime, shooting, and drug violence in the city, and we'll put those 100 kids in UNM continuing ed to get certified to be paralegals. The class was about 2,300 and some change for a 2-month course to be a certified paralegal. Now this would have got the next shooter, the next victim, the next gangbanger, the next drug dealer off the street. It would have brought a better income to that community, a better quality of life to that person's family. So you're improving the community. You're knocking out 5 or 6 problems with one solution. They said, oh, we're going to go with this. This is great. It didn't pan out. I asked them how much they would give me. I asked for $250. They said, well, we'll give you $20,000. Then that $20,000 later on went to, we'll pay for 3 kids. Then before that, they tried to backdoor my deal to another nonprofit, which only services about 88 kids from our community, but they get a total of 4 million, and they don't have nothing close to being a kind of certification program like what I was bringing to the table. It didn't pan out. You know, they told us they'd pay for 3 kids. So, you know, me and the nonprofit I was working for with Miss McGill, that was there. I was there with that Miss McGill. You know, we said we can get this from the community ourselves. We could pay for 3 kids ourselves. So it was a slap in the face to me. Then several months later, this is where the value of the black vote, the value of your vote. You let me know what the value to Mr. Keller was of black children going to jail for crime, black children dying, and the price of the black vote. So I asked them for $250,000. They offered to give me $20,000. And they offered to pay for 3 kids. But several months later, they gave the LGBTQ community $50,000 to paint the sidewalk rainbow colored for the Pride Parade. So this is what your vote is worth. They wouldn't give me the $20,000 they said they would give me, which wasn't going to me, it was going to the kids. But they would give the LGBT community $50,000. See what it was? They had a better investment going with the LGBTQ community. These guys may not vote for me, but if I, let them paint a rainbow on the street, give them some money for that, I'll get them votes. I'll secure them votes. The black vote ain't. So what does that say? What does that say? Let's just put it on out there. The value of a black life isn't going to be the same as someone from the LGBT community, someone from the white community, someone from the Hispanic community, so on and so forth, because they put more investment into these communities than they do into our communities. So now, being that Mr. Keller's math towards the black community, Mr. Keller's attention towards the black community is non-existent to a certain extent. Hiring people and talking a good game and helping organize the Juneteenth and all that, it looks good and all, but when it comes down to the real issues and the real problems that we have in the community, I feel it's a same old merry-go-round that we've been dealing with, the same old thing around and around. So my thing is, people are gonna say, man, why are you trashing this man? He said you're not gonna get the money. They ain't give me the money in the first go round. So I'm supposed to still continue to. So I've been looking other avenues to do that. So back to the mayoral race, back to Keller. You didn't see the investment in the black community. You did not see the safe ROI on that investment. So I do not believe you deserve the black vote from the black community. And if there's any leaders in the community that don't like this, oh well. We had to basically do what we've had to do. There's very little assistance. Got failed leadership in our community as well, so we'll get into that. But you want our vote. We need to have more of a. We just need to have more. We need to have more. They spent $35 million at CNM to build a dual credit high school for the Native Americans, and I believe they have some dual credit programs down at the Hispanic Cultural Center. We have nothing like that in the black community. So what we need to do is there needs to be a push with the PED, and we need that $35 million to build our own dual credit high school. Benny Hargrove dual credit high school, Benny Hargrove Guardians dual credit high school. We need to get that. We need that money. Our leaders in our community ain't asking for the money, and they'll appease you by throwing $100,000 at a couple of pastors to build a trade school, which it's not enough. It's not enough. So they keep playing us for fools, and they go to these leaders and expect us to follow behind them for them to get our vote. Now, I've talked about these other in other videos about starting a union so we can start delivering our own vote. And these are the things that we need to focus on. So one of the things for me is I really don't feel like these people deserve our vote. We don't have no candidate in the race, so we need to start having our own candidates from our own communities. I don't care if we put out 10 brothers, If one brother loses, go ahead, people will vote for the next one, and so on and so forth. But we need to have that black vote secure. And it's one thing that people, for years, it's still brothers out there and shit, man, you wasting your time. I thought like that for years, but I got tired of these people making these BS decisions and squandering money. So if it ain't gonna be Keller, who are we gonna vote for? Who are we gonna vote for? The time is now. Who should we pencil in from our community? We have leaders in our community. What it is the the generation gap, the lack of unity. We don't have no mentors from generation to generation. There's no generational mentorship when it comes down to these politics, when it comes down to business. And so that's why we don't have no candidates. But it's a new day. We need to start stepping into these roles, and we need to start taking positions. So who would you pencil in? We need to be on some kind of consensus. Who would you pencil in as your mayoral candidate from the community? I mean, you have brothers like Corley from the dealership. You have the owner of Nexus Brewery. You have Ebony Isis Booth, her husband Hakeem Bellamy. You have the one brother that hosts New Mexico in Focus, which he may be a conservative or whatever, but hey, he is a brother nonetheless. So these are the things that I'm talking about. These people need to come to the table. If not, don't come to the table when you need people to support you, when you need these votes. But these are the people that need to come to the table, as leadership, because they hold these positions. And we have the John B. Lewis's. We have so many black leaders from our community. Too bad Bonnie Greathouse ain't around. But who would you pencil in? You have brothers out there from Arthur Bell. You have, it's so many brothers in the community that can be leaders, that are leaders within their own right. But who are we going to put up there? So that's what we need to be thinking about during this election. Who are our candidates? These people do not speak for us. These people have no vested interest in seeing the community move forward. They have a vested interest in getting your vote to keep them doing what they do for their donors. That is it, first and foremost. So y'all need to go back, check out some of the other videos I put up about leadership. These people, it's a scam. They want to deliver these votes to these union people. We shouldn't be held hostage by these mayors scamming for votes. So we need to organize ourselves for the next election. The whole Black Lives Matter movement and all the protesting and all the marching, it was cool for that. But now it's time to do work. So the people that don't like the BLM and don't like all that, it's time to come to the table. Because you ain't coming out with no solutions either. All you saying is, they ran by some gay women, but you ain't coming with no solutions. Even that within itself is not a good enough excuse. Now, if you were to come and say, look, they taking money, they You know, they ain't representing these families. They ain't help. Okay, now you have my attention. Now you talking reasonably. Now you talking with some sense. But if you just say, "Oh, I ain't doing BLM because they was started by some gay women and they socialists," and come on, let me get some real reasons. You know, when you want to be a sheep, you just follow any old excuse. So let's get to some substance. You know, say they hijacked the Mike Brown protests in Ferguson. It's a whole bunch of stuff. They haven't been. It's just like any other group in a community. You come together, you build your foundation, you build your organization, and then you start getting funding. But out of that funding, you cannot create no more funding for your community. You creating wealth for your personal self, but you cannot. There's no BLM schools. There's not no Mike Brown trade school. There's no, you understand what I'm saying? So there's no progress in some of these groups. So when people say that, well, let's come to the table. And the people who say they are BLM, come to the table. That way we start a process of elimination. You know, you people don't want to be part of this. You people don't want to be part of this. All right, so get out the way, because we got kids we need to think about, not y'all egos. So this what we need to focus on. Who would we put out there for our mayoral candidates? You know, we have a lot of civic organizations, we have a lot of fraternal organizations, but the work isn't being done. So who would you put out there for your fraternal organization leaders? Who would you put out there for your social organization leaders? Who would you put out there for your activist leaders? You know, these may be the leaders for your mayoral candidate, but because there's so much division in the black community, we're not gonna get it. And these people don't have our best interests at heart. You know, when they got a campus down for the Hispanic Cultural Center, then it gets a little smaller when you get down to the Indian Pueblo Cultural Center. It's a little smaller. Then when you get down to the African American, we don't even have a damn restaurant. We ain't got no damn restaurant up in there. So we ain't got no means to make no kind of commerce out of there. We got a stage with that, I want to say maybe 300 seats or something like that. And they probably got, I want to say they got a 2,600 seat arena down at the Hispanic Cultural Center. I want to say Disney donated about $4 million for them to expand it. I think it cost about $26 million, something like that. So they have means to do shows and seat and create revenue. We have a performing arts center that houses 300 people. We have it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and for Cheryl Stapleton's name to be on top of that, it's ridiculous at this point. And this is what I mean. This is the old system. This is the old guard. It's time for these leaders, whether it's from the black community, the Democrat Party, Republican Party, anything that we're involved in, if there's not our vested interest, then we need to move on from that, or we need to take over that and start pushing our narrative. But see, without us having any kind of unity on anything, we can't deliver that both. We can't deliver that. And so we need to focus, man. It's a lot of work we have to do in our community. But at the end of the day, Tim Keller does not deserve our vote. He actually gave the LGBTQ community $50,000 to paint a sidewalk and offered me $20,000 out of $250,000 I asked for to save kids. The paint on the sidewalk isn't gonna save kids. The paint on the street wasn't gonna save kids. The rainbow paint on the street wasn't gonna save lives. You could have saved that money. You could have just gave the LGBT community the permission to paint it, and they would have painted it for free. But for those people who understand business, it was a safer return on his investment. We're gonna die in his eyes. So, I mean, what was the purpose of him trying to pour money into our community to save our kids? And this is the you know, people always want to label black people. Oh, y'all liberals, and y'all vote for just the Democrat. I'm throwing their ass under the bus just like I would throw the Republicans under the bus. Y'all ain't understanding. Y'all the ones that want to be stupid and foolish and put y'all pom-poms and be cheerleaders for these people. Perfect example. He would rather paint the sidewalks rainbow colored instead of investing in black youth in a high crime, poverty stricken area. That was his choice. So you pencil in your vote, or you decide you gonna vote for whoever you gonna vote for. But that's my stance on it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. The other candidates is trash. Eddie Aragon said he got 4% black from his 23andMe test, so he should get the black vote. Do you hear the level of this ignorant buffoonery? And y'all don't think we should put candidates up there to debate these clowns? I mean, if some of you frat brothers ain't got no leadership that can defeat that, then why do y'all got chapters? If you don't have one of y'all presidents who could debate this clown, Eddie Aragon, and the buffoonery, these are the type of people that we have as candidates. But if we ain't got a Prince Hall Mason in the entire Prince Hall lodges that can't, come on, man. We was just on a meeting talking about mental health with some brothers, and it was an older frat brother, and the first thing out of his mouth when we all went around on the Zoom was, where are our fraternal organizations? What are they doing? I'm part of this, so I just don't understand. That's what he said. Here is a perfect example. We have this clown, Eddie Aragon, and I know it's a lot of black Republicans. I know it's a lot of black fraternal brothers in law enforcement. So this is who y'all would rather keep y'all mouth shut and stay in position and cash that check and allow this to be y'all speaking head. And for the other brothers that ain't on that side of the political field, why don't you have somebody challenging these brothers? You know, you mean to tell me there's not one Prince Hall in the entire lodge? There's not one president from one of the fraternal orders, one of the fraternities? None of the Elk brothers. None of our activists. I mean, we have a lot of good brothers out there. Finney Coleman. I mean, the list goes on. I could just keep going on. But that ain't the point. The point is that we need to, some of us need to start stepping into those roles. You know, whether it's a school board position, city councilor, whatever it is, brothers need to start stepping into those roles, because we can't have clowns like this. You know, somebody who will invest $50,000 to paint the street for the LGBT parade, but he will not get, and then offer to give $20,000 to get black kids off the street instead of letting them die to crime, gun crime, in a city where the crime was going up. And then it spiked after that. A lot of youth crime spiked after that. So maybe he should have invested that money. Then maybe we wouldn't have had that spike in youth crime during that time. So that's what the Keller administration, he don't deserve your vote. So go ahead, pencil your black candidate in. Pencil in your Finney Colemans, your Ed Corleys, you know, pencil in these brothers, you know, because it's somebody out there who could be a leader. You know, the fraternity brothers, I'm not sure what's going on, but these is supposed to be the educated brothers in the community, and y'all can't put out no leader. Come on, brothers. Come on, brothers. It's time to wake up. Cause brothers, all that woke talk and all that, you know, it's time to stop the nonsense and the buffoonery in our community, man. And it's gonna have to start with these votes. It's gonna have to start with us penciling in our own people, putting in our own candidates to challenge these people. Because all they're doing is going around and collecting signatures. In the black community, you can go to church and collect signatures all day. You can go and get donations. I mean, the church should be the biggest black funders of the political party, but instead, our own political party, but instead they will go and fund these parties and endorse these candidates, but they will never endorse a candidate from our community or produce a candidate from our own community. You mean to tell me, out of all the black congregations in Albuquerque, and it's for the pastoral leaders, out of all the pastoral leaders, out of all the congregations, we don't have no black men in the community that can challenge these people? What's going on? Somebody help me understand this, because and then when I say stuff like this, it ruffles feathers. When I bring stuff like this up, people get mad at me. But you know, that's why I made this podcast, because these are the conversations we need to have. If Keller wanted to only invest, so these pastors who endorse him, we gonna see. We need $35 million for this dual credit high school. We want what they built, you know, down at CNM for our community. And these are the things Cheryl Stapleton Williams should have been doing, working for APS and being the top Democrat. But our leadership don't want to hold nobody's feet to the fire, so that's what I'm here to do. We finna hold some feet to the fire. You know, Native American advocacy must be strong. So they got that $35 million dual credit high school down at CNN. The Hispanic Cultural Center, the Hispanic community advocacy is strong. They got a campus, a compound down there. If they wanted, they can put the stadium on a compound and just kill all that. And that's what it is. You know, we need to be building these stadiums for our own financial benefit. While they argue and bicker, you know, there's some land down there at the end of Broadway we can put that nice stadium up at. You know, that's all the traffic go to anyway. So, and you got the best view right there. So these are the things we need to be building our own venues and investing in our own community instead of endorsing these candidates. But let me get back on topic. Pencil in your candidate from the black community. So let's leave some comments in there so we can get some kind of consensus of who would you want from the black community. Would you want the Finney Coleman, Ed Corley, Hakeem Bellamy, Ebony Isis Booth, the brother that owns Nexus Brewery? I mean, there's so many brothers that the list goes on. We have people that can run the city. You know, we have people that can defeat these guys. These guys, I don't know if y'all have ever attended a mayoral debate, but the one that I did, I seen 24-year-old kid Petrodi give these guys a run for their money. So we need to start focusing on our own candidates. Next election, the same goes for this presidential election. Biden, y'all seen what he did with the border crisis in Haiti, the border, how he did the Haitians. You've seen how the Texas governor did the Haitians. Now y'all need to really get into this politics. They have gerrymandered these these congressional districts to where the black vote is non-existent in Texas. In some of these congressional districts, now Hispanics, the whites, and the blacks, we exterminating y'all from this. But y'all are too busy out here not focusing. Y'all too busy cheerleading and pom-pomming for Keller and Eddie Aragon and, you know, Trump and Biden, and y'all really ain't focusing on the big picture, man. So y'all tired of these people. Y'all just, the only way we're gonna change our community is to get involved in these school boards. You see what they doing in Texas. The racist people are getting involved in the school board, so now you seeing a lot of racist legislation. And if we don't start getting involved in legislation like the brothers did after Reconstruction, then they put a stop to a lot of that stuff back then. And that's when you start studying some of this history about that. Stop taking these people's word. Stop taking the Republicans' word and the Democrats' word that, oh, we did this and we did that. You know what? Because that's their job as a politician, is to get you to believe all the nonsense. So 2021 election, man, y'all make sure y'all pencil y'all voting in. I'm endorsing, you know, any black leader from the black community, you know. So let's put some comments. Who would be the black leader from our community that you would pencil in? Because obviously Keller, you know, they ain't trying to invest in the black community. And obviously our leaders, you know, they handing out $100,000 to appease some of our leaders, knowing that ain't enough to build nothing. So now let's go, man. Pencil in who would you vote? You got some good pastors out there. Pastor Smith from Mount Olive. You got a whole lot of leaders out there in the community. But who is gonna step up? You know, you have some brothers that might be in business that you never see. You have the one brother that worked under Obama down at the Gordon law offices. You know, so there's a lot of brothers in the community. There's a whole lot of brothers in the community. So let's get a consensus going of who we would want to pencil in for our candidate for Albuquerque mayor. We don't got to go with their narrative, but let's see who we need to be voting for. So next election, we can put out our candidates. You know, I don't know why brothers are scared, but that's what it is. If these brothers from these fraternal organizations, these brothers from these other organizations, these brothers who call themselves activists out here trying to organize, but they can't come up with a political leader to come up and challenge these guys talking about the black vote should be mine because I got 4% black African in me from my DNA test. You know, this is the garbage that these people, you know, talk about. So if we can't put our own political leaders out there from some of these organizations in the community, why y'all even got an organization? You know, why we gonna support Keller when Keller don't want to invest in us? So let's see who would y'all pencil in. Why we gonna invest in goofball Aragon, Eddie Aragon, because he got 4% black? Yeah, or the sheriff who officers have killed, man, and then want to put their lapel footage on, have lapels to show their crimes, their dirty deeds, and crimes gone up under his watch. So is that what we gonna do? Is this what we coming to, man? Is this what we got to deal with? So let's see who we pencil in. Let's get some consistency. Let's get some brothers down there, some brothers' names in the comments, so we can see who we need to put out there as our candidate. But these are the things our black leaders in our community is not talking about. They're just running behind these political parties, trying to get a position. I've turned down positions in the current administration to work up at the mayor's office because the community means more to me. So I'd rather try to struggle to get this funding than to take a position. You know, there was another position I turned down at the county, you know, helping directly with trying to keep kids out of jail, but it wouldn't help me get my funding. So these are the things y'all got to understand, trying to get involved, opening your mouth, letting these people know you are educated, you do have a mind, you can think. that you do know things, that you are knowledgeable. So let's go, man. Let's get off y'all butts and let's start getting involved in some of these political proceedings. We don't necessarily got to be involved in these groups or with a message, but if you want to call yourself a Democrat and you pushing that narrative and you ain't pushing any kind of narrative for the black community, then go ahead, stay with them. We need somebody who's going to push the narrative from our community. People know I come from the hood. I come from the war zone. I come from the A7108. So I'm coming from a different, you know, we cut from a small piece of leather, but we're well put together over there, you know. And it's the roughest part in the city. They don't invest in that neighborhood. The kids from Fort Hills, that was their school district, Highland High School. They divided that. So now it's just poor kids. You got all the poor kids. It used to be the richest of the rich with the poorest of the poorest in that school district. Now it's nothing but poor kids, and so there's not going to be the same investment. But we need that. You know, they've been building this library for almost a year now in the middle. That needs to be a dual credit high school. I'm sorry. Books ain't going to feed those people over there. Books are not going to feed the people in the war zone. So these are the things that the current administration, this is what they're vested in. They're vested in their own legacy. They're not vested in our community, and our leaders are failing us because they're not pushing for the top dollar. There's no planning. So we need new leadership, you know. So let's pencil that in. Let's leave that in the comment. Who would we pencil in as our mayoral candidate from our community to push our narrative, you know? Let's go ahead and leave that in the comment. Man, y'all stay blessed. Stop playing with the church money.
I did it all for the money. I did it all for the money. When a player had to eat, that one a damn thing funny. I did it all for the money. I did it all before. Ride people so dope. Gang banging, shooting pistols, running from the dance folks. And I was no forgetting anything you asked for. Soft hard.